And on this week's show of The Nicole and Taylor Show, we'll have a documentary on
Jomo Kenyatta and Kwame Nkrumah.
Taylor, let's go to you to find out the interesting life story of Kwame Nkrumah.
Thank you, Nicole. Today we're going to start with Kwame Nkrumah. He was born September 21st, 1909. His place of birth was Nografol, Ghana. His dad was a goldsmith and his mother was a retail trader. He was baptized a Roman Catholic. At 9 years old, he went to Roman Catholic Elementary. He began to teach at Roman Catholic. He was drawn to politics as a child. He went to the U.S. to pursue his studies. He studied socialism. He went to Akamoda College, Lincoln University, and, right near us, the University of Pennsylvania. The word of the day is liberate. It means to free. Kwame wanted to free the people, hence liberate. The British colony of the Gold Coast became the first African colony of the Sahara to achieve independence. Africans wanted full freedom, and the leader of their nonviolent war was Kwame Nkrumah. It started in 1947. He worked to liberate, word of the day, there you go, the Gold Coast from the British. He organized strikes and boycotts, and he often went to prison by the British government, but he was still successful. The Gold State Independence Day was in 1957, and it took the name Ghana. He became Ghana's first prime minister and later the president for life. Nkrumah made new roads, new schools, and expanded health facilities. These costly projects crippled the country. He was criticized for spending too much time on Pan-African, but it was to strengthen all of Africa. Even though he did this, it was all in hopes to make the country be a little better, even if they did lose money and whatever else happened. There was a monument that was made after Nkrumah. February 24th, 1966, 3 days after he had left on his peace mission to Vietnam, the people were told the myth of Kwame Nkrumah is ended forever, which means what happened was the government had told him that this myth that the government was telling them was meaning that Kwame Nkrumah had never existed. In reality, he really did exist, but the government themselves did not like what he was doing to their country, and they decided that they were just going to tell their people that you can no longer talk about him, and he was just a figment of your imagination. And then they destroyed his statue. He had this amazing statue made after Kwame Nkrumah, and of course, the government decided, I'm going to destroy the statue because that's what I do. Back to Nicole to show you the statue being destroyed.
The Kwame Nkrumah statue.
When Kwame Nkrumah was exiled in February 1966, he was exiled without his wife. He and his wife had been married for 8 years, and he was no longer with her. Even though they removed his statue, they couldn't remove his legacy. The country was now in debt. There were new schools and universities thanks to Kwame. It finally gave everyone in that country pride because Kwame Nkrumah had done something. They wanted to ignite and lead the continent He wanted to ignite and lead a continent, but instead, Kwame Nkrumah had found a nation. Let's go to Nicole on the streets to find out who can answer correct questions about Kwame Nkrumah. Nicole!
Thank you, Taylor. Let's find people who can answer the correct question about Kwame Nkrumah. Oh, hello, sir. Would you like to answer a question about Kwame Nkrumah?
I'm a lady and that's a camera. No!
Okay, then. Let's get over here and ask this person. Hello. Would you like to answer a question about Kwame Nkrumah?
Sure.
Alright, so, what date did Kwame Nkrumah die?
April 27th, 1972.
That's good. Good job.
Thanks, man! Really boost my self-confidence!
That was very fun. Taylor, let's head back to you in the studio to find out more.
This is the actual statue of Kwame Nkrumah before it was destroyed. This is a photograph of Kwame Nkrumah. He looks like a very, very good man. This is a postage stamp of Kwame Nkrumah showing how much of an awesome person he was and how amazing he helped the world be a better place after World War II. This is a photo of Kwame Nkrumah. He is looking off into the distance, knowing he will die a happy man. This is Kwame Nkrumah. He is doing a speech, and he is being very influential to all the people around. Now let's go to Nicole, while she'll tell us all about Jomo Kenyatta and what he did. Nicole.
Thank you, Taylor. And now we're going to talk about Jomo Kenyatta. He was born on October 20th, 1893, and died August 22nd, 1978. He was born as Kamwau to his parents Mago and Wambui. His father Mago died when Kamwau was very young. He was then adopted by his uncle Negje, being named Kamwau wa Negdwe. Around 10, he suffered an infection. The surgery was successful, though. He ran away from home to study at the mission, studying the Bible, English, mathematics, and carpentry. In 1912, he completed school education and became an apprentice carpenter. On August 1914, Kamwau was baptized at the Church of Scotland Mission, taking the name John Peter Kamwau, soon changing it to Johnson Kamwau. He wore a traditional beaded belt known as Kenyatta. This is Jomo Kenyatta wearing his traditional belt, called Kenyatta. In 1919, he married his first wife, and on November 20th, 1920, his first son was born. In 1922, he adopted the name Jomo, meaning burning spear. He started his political career the previous year. This guy named Harry formed the East African Association. In 1925, the EAA, the East African Association, disbanded under government pressure, but its members came together to make the KCA. Kenyatta worked as editor of the KCA's journal in 1924 to 1928. By 1928, he became KCA's general secretary. Kenyatta had achieved a goal with the move to independent African educational institutions. In Britain during World War II, the cutoff in Britain from the KCA, which had been banned back in Kenya by World War II, Kenyatta continued to campaign for the Kikuyu rights, publishing several books and pamphlets and studying their language. As the war progressed, Kenyatta became involved with a group of anti-colonial and African nationalists from around the African continent. He was also invited to lead the newly formed Kenya African Union, the KAU, of which he became president in 1947. Over the next few years, Kenyatta traveled around Kenya, giving lectures and campaigning for independence. Kenya colony was still dominated by white settlers, and the dangerous explosion became a reality called the Mau Mau Rebellion. And for independence and support for nationalism, Kenyatta was implicated in the Mau Mau movement by the British authorities, and on October 21st, 1952, he was arrested. Kenyatta also sought to gain the trust of the white settlers of the Central Highlands, asking them to not flee from the country, but to stay and help to make it an economic and social success. Kenyatta's legacy, corruption notwithstanding, was a country which had been stable both politically and economically. Kenyatta had also maintained a friendly relationship with the West, despite his treatment by the British as a suspected Mahi Mahi leader. Jomo Kenyatta was the leader of the Kenya from independence in 1963 to his death in 1978, serving first as Prime Minister and then President. He is considered the founding father of the Kenyan nation. He was born October 20th, 1893, and died August 22nd, 1978. His presidential term lasted from 1964 to 1978.
Thank you for watching our documentary on What People Changed the World After World War II.
And now, on next week's episode of The Nicole and Taylor Show,
We'll have Fat Bear.